from the Milwaukee Brewers, as we lost a legend, as you guys know, a couple weeks back, Bob Uecker. I had the, pleasure to be a friend of Bob's, and we spent a lot of time in Arizona. He came out here to what he would call Frisco in San Francisco. Took me into the box while he was calling games at Pac Bell and Candlestick. Just an so really miss him. Reached out to him in November, did a little cameo with Goose Gossage and sent him a note. And just can't say, the dinners that we had with the commissioner, everybody dropping in Arizona uh, and saying hello to Bob. He was so respected and such a gentleman. I mean, just salt of the earth. And I was just very lucky to have spent time with the man. Polish, like myself, and he reminded me a lot of my father, actually, because the same hair, that silver black wavy hair, same kind of facial structure. It must be the Polish genes, I don't know. But my father passed when I was 11, and he was an avid baseball fan because my dad was the United Press International photographer for the Giants and the A's and all the other sports too. So back when I was a little guy, 8 years old, in that 8, 9, 10, 11, he was bringing home Willie Mays' bat, McCovey's gloves, Cepeda's first base glove. I've got all kinds of memorabilia in my living room, signed baseballs. I got a watch from Horace Stoneham, Giants watch my dad was given. So I think I might have mentioned my dad passed when I was 11. So I didn't have that father figure going into my grade school and high school and beyond, and it's unfortunate. But what time I did have, my dad with my two older brothers, he took a baseball and put a rope through it. Okay, he drilled a hole through the baseball, put a rope through it, and then he would be in his out in the backyard with gardening gloves on. Dad, no shirt on, out there just with gardening gloves, just whipping this thing around like a lasso. So as a baseball, I mean, we are just like, just hearing go, just everything was a home run. Everything was a home run for hours. So fun. And, you don't have to chase the ball. And as this guy, and I really, if you guys are young, if you have young kids, and I'd show you how to make it. It's super simple. But as the lasso guy, you can speed it up, change it up, drop the speed down, dip it down. So the ball was moving all the time. So you'd just be like, your eyes would be just falling. And I was, pretty good. I led in home runs every year in Little League, because we had this hack, this thing that he invented. So can't, thank him enough for that, because when I came into golf, he passed when I was 11. I got into a golf camp up in Tahoe with Dave Stockton was actually doing, and the counselors were amazed that I could hit at 11 years old a 9-iron 135 to 145, taking big divots and stuff, because I was a hitter, man, and was strong for my size, and was super coordinated with hands and eye and stuff. So that's why distance came pretty easy for me in this game from my baseball days, And so I wanted to cover just a couple things today, but basically I'm out here. Just wanted to introduce me a little bit and say, hey, a lot of you guys know me, but I've been in the business for 30 years coaching golf. Super fortunate and accredited with Teacher of the Year. I'm in the Northern California section. I've got a bunch of certifications. I helped start Stack and Tilt, One Plane Swing with Jim Hardy. I've been around great instructors. And so Dr. Kwan, I've got accolades of pursuit. And I don't leave any pages unturned. I want to learn more every year, every week, So I try to bring what I can to you guys out here online and really help make it relevant to what you can use on the golf course and provide you feedback from your questions, man. So I really wanting the questions, and if you check my videos out in the other YouTube videos, I move around a little bit, talking about sometimes the lower body, sometimes about how to deliver the club with either swinging or hitting, either a kind of a forceful punching kind of action like a Tommy Fleetwood and Rory, or the swinging action of a Jake Knapp and a Shane Lowry, you know, just to kind of give you guys an idea there. So, and anyway, back to the original statement of Bob Uecker. I mean, we were out playing, and he'd be all, "Here's Paulie Gorman." He's so great. He's out of Frisco. We don't know where he's going, but he's out here. He's going to try to lash at something. I don't know what they're doing in Frisco, but it doesn't look like golf much, you know. Just busting my balls. But we had just such a great time. And like I said, he spent time. I brought him out here to California, and we played at Meadow Club up in Fairfax here, McKenzie course. And yeah, so Mr. Uecker, I'll be wearing this hat all year long, and we'll see you on the other side, you know? So, yeah, in memory of Bob Uecker today, because when you hit one like this, just a bit outside. Actually, it was inside, but so anyway, out here on a sunny day, we just had about 8 inches of rain, and it's a sunny day. Tomorrow's more rain coming. But let's just talk about how to build your golf game a little bit. You know, I would say what I'm going to do for you guys out there is I'm going to build a blueprint to kind of follow, you know, because a lot of players that come out to practice out here in this driving range don't have a game plan. And you can break down these little blueprints for how you're going to go practice for the day that you have to go practice, right? You got an hour maybe or something, but maybe you're going to work on a few different items in there, but usually you get a little sidetracked from the, you know, social media. We got the roulette wheel of TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, or, you know, all the things coming in that give you those quick tips, and that's nice, but they're not lasting very long. And, you know, when you have a game plan to go out and practice, you should start and stay according to that plan. Let's say you had an hour, you got 100 balls. Maybe the first 15 balls you do a particular drill. Like for me, I'll come out and I'll just start hitting one-handed shots for you know, about 15 balls, just getting my my trail arm kind of getting going here, because what you'll find, it is a skill that no tour player doesn't know how to do. I mean, you've seen Hideki. If you haven't, he's hitting balls. He holds his hands on his chest like this and starts hitting balls to get the feel of the club head swinging. So we end up sometimes pulling the club, and when you pull the club, that delays the club from releasing, and that's what we see with kind of muscle players, right? And you can you know, come in and pull and side bend a lot and get the club down to the ground, but it's kind of tough on the body, and it's a particular method that you, if it's natural to you, then maybe that's your deal. But when you watch you know, most of the tour pros out there, they're getting the energy sent into the club. They're not spinning their bodies out of the way of the golf swing. They're stabilizing their body into the impact zone. What do I mean by that, guys? Well, I mean this. I mean, you don't want to come in and start to spin your body out, because you're disrupting the stability of the lower body, which is going to stabilize to smash the ball, right? So when you watch a guy like Rory, I mean, he's like my size and just kills it out there. And you watch his body, though, he is definitely straightening this left knee at the time that he's going into impact and really thrusting the hips hard, okay? And that is something that you should do, but maybe not at the power meter that he uses. What you want to learn is, like, how's it working? How do you time that? And you look at the great Ben Hogan, he too was coming in and he would shift his weight. As he's shifting, this trail leg would meet up with the left. So he'd be standing up here, turning this out some, but this right leg would come in and smash into the left. So it's when you start hitting these one-arm shots, you'll notice, well, at least I'll do it for you this way. There's no one over there right now. I feel like all I try to do is I put my thumb in my pocket here sometimes, and I'll just go and hit shots like this, where I'm just turning a little, but it's mostly just standing on this left leg. I get a little weight over here, and I just throw the club. I load a little bit of the elbow, I cock a little bit of the wrist, I let it drop and throw as I catch it with my pivot. So the right thigh is actually turning with the pelvis into the shot some. I'm not looking to open up the body. It's strictly a stabilizer, like so. So once you get the feel of this, and it is a skill, I get all my players, especially juniors, man, because they are wild. They're like all over the place, jumping around, sliding around, and you know, some of the other students that I have, I mean, everyone's trying to move the club with a bunch of body twisting rather than just a throw of the club and a smash like that, you know. So the body does add speed if you use it in the right sequence, but the impact area, you will and should be stabilizing the lower body. That means that your body's starting to grab as it's starting to go into this extension and slight turn through as you're really letting the club go. And that can be developed by doing drills like this, like I'm showing you. A simple, let it, you know, the weight of the club is right here. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but the center of mass in this golf club is like right there. So we're all trying to control where this is when we're playing, right? We feel it. This is what we're feeling in our hands, and this trigger finger here, and this arm here, you know, for me, it's pretty simple as a baseball player, you know. I got a lot of skill throwing the ball. I pitched, I played shortstop, and I went to town on that bat from my dad's drilling a hole in that baseball and with a rope and sitting there, standing in the backyard, whipping this thing around after school. Couldn't wait to go home and just hit home runs, man. So, yeah, and by the way, when he did bring home Willie Mays' bats and stuff, I was in the backyard hitting rocks with him and all kinds of stuff because who knew, right? I was 8 years old, right? So, I remember Bob telling me, Bob Uecker, pretty much broke every bone in his feet and wrists playing catcher for so many years, and those balls bouncing up, and you know, they didn't have the guards for the body that they had back then, but he was pretty beat up. But we played some fun golf. I remember we played True North at the Monument Course. That was a blast. I had a friend in town, and he went out with us and was just like so fun as Bob is telling stories. I'm going to hit a few shots here, guys. All right. I'm going to take the mic off to see if the sound, I'm going to turn the mic off for a second to see if the sound of the impact comes in a little better. case you guys can't hear me that well. So leave me some questions and comments. I don't know that I'll be able to see them right now because my eyes are not that great. Mic off, mic back on. Appreciate the comments. Yeah, good luck. Shit, I miss it, man. I'm passionately obsessed with this golf game like you guys, believe me. And occasionally on the YouTube channel, I'll put a short in there, and I might say something that gets some comments like about Jake Knapp and his syrupy half swing action on that number 6 or 7 at AT&T, and I said, all right, Rory, get you some of that. And the only reason I say that is because Rory, as I've watched him, has not had a intermediate great wedge game. I mean, full wedge does all right, but those soft intermediate wedges has always been one of his weaker points. And at the Cognizant earlier in the year, and Mark Emmelman is commentating on it, and he's a friend of mine, and I was going back and forth during the deal with him, and Jake Knapp and Kirk was playing with Rory, and they all had the same yardages going into this par 4, some sort of 65-yard, 72-yard shot, and Kirk and Jake just had these beautiful little half swing, soft, syrupy, buttery actions. We're hitting them pin high and spinning, and then Rory did his thing, and he would like take that left arm in and look like straight up with the shaft like this, and then what do you do from there? I mean, there's so much torque and stuff going on. Anyway, he'd throw it past the pin like 30 feet, 40 feet, so that was the only reason I mentioned anything about that, is because that's not a highlight of his game. Does he have a great short game? Hell yes. But the intermediate wedge, a lot of pros don't have really a great game at that. There's a particular yardage in there that Mark Sweeney has in his GameForge stuff. And if you've never heard of that, it's a wonderful stat app from Mark where you compare yourself up to the tour averages in certain distances. And you might find in there, like I did, that like I was better from a certain yardage than Phil Mickelson with the wedge at a certain yardage. I'm pretty good with him. But with Rory, back to that, what I heard was either the AT&T or the tournament before that he has been working on opening the face, going back, rolling the face to keep the elbow more in front. Yeah. Because he has a tendency to take that left arm in tight like this and take it straight up. That was his wedge game, and now he's been, you've seen the DP videos out there where he's on the range and he's talking about, keeping it more in front and on plane. And it's like, yeah, man, it's like, let the left arm just kind of roll the face and get it on plane and see if you can just hit these little softer shots. But why would you do that? Why do you need to do that when you got his long game and his iron game? And the guy's amazing. It was really cool to see. Is the mic off? No. We're good, right? It was really cool to see Shane Lowry finish second place. I mean, there you go. You got two different guys, two different body builds, and both from, Northern Ireland, right? So, kind of Rory's the hitter, and then you got Shane Lowry, which I'm going to do some videos for you guys you need information. If you guys are like 6'3" and up, you need to know about equipment and things that are for you. And a bodybuilder with big chest cavities and roundness, I mean, we come in all shapes and sizes, and there's not enough out there about that. So I'm going to create some videos that'll help you guys, that if you happen to be in the medium shape, like a Shane Lowry, he takes it back, and the first thing that happens is his elbows split like this, so his arms can slide along his cage and go up. And then he's got kind of a downswing that's just beautiful. I mean, it's just on plane right here, arms apart, where other guys are like, really tight with the arms this way. He's more split apart. So guys that are, big chested, round, and bicep guys, they're always going to have this look where the rib cage is kind of in the way, and you have to have longer clubs too. So anybody that's got a big chest cavity and round, you need longer clubs. There could be a a kid here that's 6'3" that could use standard clubs because he's got, you know, maybe he's like 17 or 16 or something. He doesn't have he's not built out yet. So he's got these narrow shoulder, kind of no chest. His arms can get right in front of him this way. And then you got bodybuilder boy, and he's like this, arms like that. They need long clubs because they got to go around this huge chest. So if you got standard clubs as a big guy, let's talk. You know, I'll help you out and get you fit for something that's going to help you play and swing the club with more feel. So I thought that, you know, it's pretty interesting. So the one-arm drill I love. I think my hand is like getting more mobile, and this is really an experiment today with me, guys, of letting this club go and, you know, just hitting it. Yeah, there's some vibration going on there, but it's not really hurting. It did in the beginning. Yeah, it's funny because that one caught in the backswing. So it's right here is where I'm getting all the pain in this joint right here. You know, and it's like the weight of the club, as soon as you start taking it back, sometimes it grabs right there. So, you know, I can't, you know, I'm just going to go through this today and deal with it, and then ice it up a little bit later, and we'll see how it works, you know. What are you guys up to today? Let's see. A Golf Channel clip of Butch saying shorter players be better for them to hinge the left wrist earlier. Can you speak of that? Hinges on the backswing. Sure. I wouldn't like wrap that up into shorter guys. I mean, Hogan was short and had long arms. Here's a funny story. I don't know if you guys, anybody heard of Mac O'Grady in Morad? A phenomenal ball striker, genius, expert on the anatomy, was doing yoga, was a yogi back in the 70s and 80s. I heard that he dug a hole and stepped in a hole to swing and feel what it was like to be Ben Hogan. Okay? That's stepping outside of the box, right? But I'm going to take this jacket off. It's actually getting warm out here. So as far as like how to take the club back, God, I would say in a general way that what I see on the tour is like you see wide more than narrow. So narrow would be cocking and folding the elbow right away. That would be narrow, and wide would be like so. You know, where you see most tour players, they're out here. Um, if you go really narrow and you talk about like setting the wrist and folding the elbow early, that can cause a problem that might happen later in the swing where it gets around over here. You might, if you don't attach this arm out here, you're going to have a shorter swing, okay? And then you might detach it on the way down, and that's typically what we see from over the toppers. Kind of get tight in the arms here and then over the top this way. So you want to blend things in a little bit. When I say blend, we've got a little bit of the pivot, right? We've got a tiny bit of the pivot along with a little bit of that right wrist bending back this way, like a dog tail wagging at you. There's a hinge pin right here in your wrist. This one doesn't work too good. I won't demonstrate with that one, but hopefully in the next month or two, it'll be a year in May. So the blend is a little pivot of the triangle of the arms, a little fold of the right elbow, a little rolling of the left, and a little cocking of the left. I mean, that's a blend. That's a tiger blend. So I always talk about it like a suitcase handle, and get it in the fingers like this, and just start lifting the club away with a little pivot, and I think you'll be in good shape. If you overcock right away and torque the left shoulder down, and things like that, you're going to be put yourself into an area where other compensations or other actions need to happen. And really, we're trying to get the club working back in a way that is smooth and repeatable. And I don't think folding this is going to be beneficial, especially when you get into drivers in the long club. So Ben Hogan, even though he was a wee man, they said, right? Played so great in the one British Open he played that he won. You know, you would always see him start the club with this pivot back and the club whipping back. It had a little bit of that old style lag looking, like this, but then it would just snap. That would give him that width. Then it would snap midway back. That was, like Hogan would just like this. And yeah, I've done that. I've tried it, and it's doable. But I'm more of a, I guess you could say that I'm more of a Shapley. I'm a gatherer of speed. Where that would be a whipping action to get speed. So a gatherer would be someone that's pivoting, letting the arm swing, and then getting to the top to produce the power on the way down, rather than someone that's like fast up with a bunch of cocking and stuff. So a gatherer or explosive off the ball, I think gatherer is going to make, well, I could say that it depends on you, Sorry, I forgot to put this back up. I've got a guy that I'm talking to now over in Europe, and he says he's super fast, which I haven't heard this before. He said his arms are so fast that he couldn't control them and is having trouble. And he said part of that that he's bipolar. And wow, okay. So he's got a real fast movement that he can't control sometimes at certain times. So that's something interesting to me. And I'm thinking to help him blend those arms in, I want to give him some body action, right? Let's get the Chevy, the body, to maybe load a little more for him, rather than if you prop him over like a stack and tilt. That's really all you got to load that club is the arms going back and some of the right hip pull back. So anyway, I just thought I mentioned that. I thought it, pretty damn interesting. So I think I answered a little bit of the short arm deal, or excuse me, the smaller player. And also, which is unique, is us with the wingspan relative to your height, forearm length to upper arm length. I'm long in both. I got a long wingspan compared to my height, forearms longer. So I'm never gonna look like my hands are right on my shoulder at the end of the backswing. My arms are always gonna be up here. So if you're looking to copy a player on the TV, you just don't know their anatomy, and those positions might not be obtainable, as my arms are going to be deeper and a little bit higher than guys with short arms, right? All right, so covered a little bit about body type, and I think it's going to be really helpful to do some stuff for you guys out there that are kind of bodybuilders, work out a lot, don't, eat, you like pizza like me, and make sure you got the right equipment going on and that you let the club set for that body type. So Shane Lowry goes like this. Get elbows like that, like so. And it's really cool. You ever see that with Shane at the top of the swing? His pinky comes off the club. So he's got so much of this wrist cock right here and the elbows like this that the pinky actually comes off up here. So you can imagine if they showed this part of the glove, I imagine that this is not in here also. And so as long as it's doing the same thing every time you have control of the club, you're going to be in good shape. And of course, that kind of action gives you a lot of speed. The velocity from the hinging and unhinging, right? So pinky off, boom. That's Shane with that round kind of body there. Very swingy looking. Got a Shane Lowry story at the AT&T several years ago when he first came over to America. You know, this has got to be about eight years ago or something. So we're getting in the minivan to go up to the driving range at Pebble, me and my buddy, and we're working with Jerry Yang of Yahoo, and inside the car already was this guy with a beard and stuff, and go, hey, what's your name? What, you know, how? He goes, oh, I'm Shane Lowry, you know, and okay, I never heard of the guy, whatever, and you know, we just rode up together, and that was it. But then that year, or even the next year, he started to get on that leaderboard and go through the roof. So that was pretty cool. And look at him now, you know, guy's British Open winner, amazing player, apparently one of the best short games, best hands in the business. And he's got a wee little pinky coming off at the top of the swing. I got some video of Shane from the AT&T. I'll see if I can find that pinky move. Let's see. Anything else here? Yeah, man. If you're a bodybuilder, I got a guy out here that's a bodybuilder, and he's good, man. I've helped him along with you know, his chest cavity. He lifts, and so he looks like an Olympic deadlifter, man. And yeah, it's super fun, you know. So as a good coach, you got to be aware of all that stuff and work with the player in front of you. That's why I'm not a cookie cutter guy. I have my set of principles and blueprints. Like I'm saying, I'm going to make a standard, my pillars of the best way to play golf. I mean, or at least the best way as a starting line. And then you can find an instructor, perhaps it's me, to work along that construct or framework, and then delve into you know, the other aspects of the motion of the golf swing and the body, right? So, and we're all trying to do that. Is like move our body and coordinate the arms coming in with velocity and speed, right? So that's why I'm doing these videos. And like I said, your guys' comments and questions are super important. So share them with your friends. You know, maybe someone you know would get use out of this video today, you know. So that's important for me, so I can, that way, you know, because I'm putting the videos out, and if I don't get comments, I don't know what to make next and relative to what I'm trying to get across today. So I think that's really, really great for me to hear what's going on with you guys. There's a weather tower out there. Well, that one I caught a little thick there, and that sent out some signals to the left hand, but I think it's already in recovery. So this could be good that I'm doing this today, taking a little bit of punishment. When this happened last May, I went off to Greece, and if you just saw some of my videos in Greece, I got a 7-iron that actually retracts to half a club and put in my suitcase. Now, if you guys travel for work, you should get this club. Okay, I'll put it in the description where to get it. And it telescopes down. Just unscrew it a little bit, and it's a nice weighted 7-iron. It goes into half, put it in your suitcase, you're good to go. So when I was in Greece, though, I taped my hand up. I was there for a couple weeks last year, and I taped my hand up because I was going to ride ATVs all the time, you know, just blasting around, and I did. I taped up and just freaking rode those ATVs all over the islands I visited. It's my second year in a row. But when I got back and I started hitting balls, there was like no pain. It was like perfect. Okay. So I didn't hit a lot the first day. I just like hit, okay, be careful, you know, just hit. I hit for about 20 minutes, not super hard. And the next day, the same, the next day. And then it slowly started to deteriorate. And then I played in a big tournament in November in Mexico that I always play. And if anybody's interested in going and doing a little work on your golf game in Mexico, March 16th through 21, we're doing a trip out there. Just leave me a message and I'll reach you. 415-699-9117 if you want to give me a call. But yeah, the ATV, I think just the punishment of just like holding on, right? You gotta, it's not punishment, but just the firm grip of holding on and that shaking of the tendons and everything just kind of lock things in, you know? So that was helpful, and I just don't know where that went. You know, I just kind of went to that tournament in November. I got a shot in the wrist joint the week before, which calmed everything down. But by the end of the tournament, man, I had ice on in between shots, and yeah. So a bit of a cluster, but a lot of bones, a lot of tendons in the old wrist joints. There we go. So that's feeling pretty damn good there. I'll hit one down the line here for you guys. Small animals in the bushes over there. Okay. Um, one arm drill. Getting the feeling of the club releasing. You don't need to have your body open 60 degrees while you're trying to hit a ball. I don't, you know, it's like, I would say, guys, whatever happened to hit into a firm left side? I mean, it's the data's there for those that are privy to it. Michael Jacobs out of Long Island's great biomechanics of his software, fantastic. And it's unrefuted that the body is stabilizing during impact. It is not hustling, spinning, and twisting. So I don't know why people are doing that. I don't know what this is all about. It feels kind of like baseball to me a little bit coming in, but is it really? I don't know. My dad, when he had us as the boys, we were doing that stuff in the backyard with the baseball and the rope. He had us all, three boys, two older brothers. He had us like in the hitting position already, so about like this. So we weren't up like this. We were like this. So all you had to do is go forward, right? And that's how I learned to bat. And so I think what I do notice though from that setup is once in a while I jump into my baseball kind of feel and look. When I do that, my weight is like, I feel on the back heel. And in baseball, we're always digging a hole in with the left foot too, in the box, the lead foot, pigeon-toed almost. So this thing about like coming in this way feels like baseball. So spinning out, yeah, that wasn't happening. It was like, boom, like that. So a lot of stuff I could relate back to baseball. And now that I understand a little bit more and I'm not jumping down areas that aren't making sense to me, which is really great, You get the data that proves that, well, no wonder I didn't like that because that's not what's happening and it doesn't feel right. And, here's a great story for you guys. Greg Norman, during COVID, got on live in the early Instagram of COVID days, and he was in his workshop down in his by his house, and either his wife or his daughter was interviewing, and she said, "So, who is your best coach? Your favorite coach?" And he said, he thought, and he goes, "Oh, that had to be Butchie," and because he was a minimalist. He wasn't any good with the short game, so I helped him with the short game when we showed him some Seve Ballesteros short game stuff. But if he gave me something to do, and I couldn't do it in 3 swings, we'd move on. Okay, Greg. So there you go. If it feels that hard to do, then it can't be right, or for your body, you know. I've been dragged around the planet for a while and been busted up and all this stuff. So um, if it's really hard to do and constraining, it's like probably you should be looking somewhere else or move on to something different, and say, no, I can't do that. And I had students, that I'll work with and say, hey, let's do this, da da da. And they go, I can't do that. That doesn't feel right. And I go, okay. And a good instructor will be able to weave around and get the same job done with a different feel and a different action. So anyway, that was a great thing to hear from Greg Norman. He also said, was asked, like, what's your favorite golf course you designed in the United States? And he said, that'd have to be Wente in Northern California. So Wente is over here in Livermore, and it's along the vineyards. And Yeah, a wonderful golf course, man. So that was cool to hear, though. That was his favorite. All right, let's see. Oh, just because I'm messing around, um, I got this 7 iron, but I'm gonna hit a little bit of curves for you. I'm gonna hit some draws a little bit, but I'm gonna do it with my shoulders. Okay, so it's gonna be a swirl of my shoulders. I'm not gonna do it by coming from the inside and rolling and letting it go this way. I'm gonna do it with like a Trevino shoulder roll. So this is what Trevino would do. He'd take it outside, and then he'd start turning the shoulders more and would come in like so. You can see that ball melting off to the left there. I've seen and I've heard Tiger talk about hitting these intermediate little wedge shots into greens like 20, 30 yards. And when he drew them in, he'd use this idea. A longer, slower, further away from, now I'm talking about Tiger, about this kind of swirl of the shoulders. You see the shape of the ball there? There's more than one way, to get curves done, and part of the body movement's one of them. You know, it's only going to work to draw the ball if your left arm or my lead arm happens to be not in line with when I get it down level to the ground, that it's not in line with the target, because then I can't start it to the right enough. So by taking it out this way, you will always be working the left arm away from the target line, allowing you to come from the inside. Very good. If you guys are over the top wanting some sort of drill to fix it, that's something that you can do. Okay. So I'm going to do more of these live videos because I can start hitting shots and describing out of my 30 years of experience, teacher of the year, certified stack and tilt golf machine, Dr. Kwan, all that stuff. I've got stuff that I can help just talk about, and you guys can kind of take it and maybe use it a little or not. I mean, I can go Trevino all day. I just lift it up and away, wind it up, bring it back in. Now, so what is the shoulder roll? Well, it's a couple things. The shoulders are turning. First, they're not turning much as the arms kind of lift away, and then that right shoulder starts to come back around and starts to go under. So that's the swirl. It's like like if this is in a big cauldron of water, you dip this thing out and get it back in the cauldron that way, the wine barrel. It's a little bit of a swirl there. See that drop in there? Trevi. Yeah, that felt good. But yeah, man, so appreciate you guys coming in, and I hope I gave you something of value for you to check out. I'd like to stay here a little longer, but my wrist is starting to take a little bit of punishment there. So I think I'm going to call it a day for hitting. It doesn't mean I can't talk for a few more minutes, right? So, yeah, so how do you hit a lob shot with the 7 iron? That's a question, right? Just got to layer open, man. Get away from it. Keep the elbow in front of you like this, and then slip it right around that way. A little mushy here. That was a shank. Well, it wasn't a shank. I hit off the bottom of the club. But we don't need to do that with my hand. What I will do is show you the release styles that you guys can actually take this to the driving range. And if you ever notice, after hitting it through impact, a player's club face will have a certain angle of 3. It'll either be like this when you see Scheffler at the AT&T coming through on some of those punchy lob wedges, hitting the low spinners, traps it, leaves the club face this way. It's like a bunker shot. And then there's a pushing through without rolling, and that's like my punch shots. And the club face will have a 45-degree look this way. So I'll do it shortened up here. Coming through like so would be one release. And then you can push it and be 45, or you can Nelly Corda release Jake Knapp this way, Hogan. And so with my hands right now, it's called a horizontal release, where letting that toe roll, at least that's what it's called in the golf machine. It's vertical to the ground, but the club face is horizontal to the ground. That open face is vertical to the ground that way. So, but releasing the toe through is the free release that you do when you're one arm swinging of the club head. So if you're looking for a little more velocity and you don't want to use muscle power, it's getting the release. It's getting this release, letting it go here. I'm going to do one like that and see if I can hold it out there. And you'd be surprised. And some video I did where I was talking about the forearms and how fast and mobile they are, how they can produce an enormous amount of speed for you. And I got, of course, comments coming, oh, how do you time that, this, that, and the other? It's like, well, how do you time anything, You put different forces on the club and it delays the face from closing. So when you're thinking you're going to do this, you're already pushing the handle forward to snap it, which delays it. I don't know. It's in the physics, but try it. You might be surprised how straight it goes. So that was just a whippy, let it go thing, and it, had a little tiny draw on it, but a lot of speed for kind of a small swing. All right, thanks guys, appreciate it, and we'll catch you on the next one. Share it with friends, leave some comments. It'd be great to see you online there. Okay.